If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. It's open water swimming season, and many people around the world are taking the lakes, seas, and oceans for marathon swims. Recently, Nial Funchion, a Chicago police officer, braved the Catalina Channel and made it from Catalina Island to the California shore. His swim completed a major milestone as he became one of 76 to complete the Triple Crown of open water swimming, which also includes the English Channel and the swim around Manhattan Island. While the accomplishment is remarkable, the 47-year-old set out on the swims not just to complete them, but raise awareness of two special causes very close to his heart. And Nial joins us now in the Finis Monitor from the Police Academy in Chicago. Nial, it's good to see you. How are you today?
Oh, fine, thanks. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, congratulations on completing the Triple Crown. Must be a big thrill to know you finally got through that.
It was a great experience. It was everything I wanted, but everything I needed, but didn't really want.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of putting it. So just to remind people, you swam the English Channel in 1998. You swam around Manhattan Island last year, and then on August 13th this year, you swam Catalina Channel. Which of those three swims are you most proud of?
The English Channel.
Why is that?
It was my first long swim, and I had a few things I had to prove, especially to myself. And when I crawled to France on the shore there, it was an incredible triumph. You know, it was a personal quest.
And then you took 14 years between resuming your Triple Crown swimming quest. Did you stop swimming at all in those 14 years, or were just life just got in the way of getting around to it again?
You know, every 3 years I did a long swim. I did across Lake Michigan, the shoreline of Lake Michigan, a lot of Lake Michigan swimming at all times of day. And that kept me in the game. I went over to the Strait of Gibraltar from Spain to Africa also. And each swim has its own personality. But it was usually like every 3 years I did it, with exception to the last 3 years. You know, I did one a year, and you could kind of feel that cumulative effect.
So you just needed to get some more experience in open water before you could say, okay, now it's time to get back to the big ones.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't necessarily I needed experience. It was I needed to kind of like rejuvenate myself, and I would always head out to challenge myself in that arena. So. Just over time, I accumulated a whole lot of experience with open water swimming, and it was just an effect to needing it at that time.
Now
it was like a giant aspirin.
You know? I definitely understand that now. Tell me how you got started in open water swimming. What attracted you to it?
There was a challenge. I wasn't sure quite if I could make it. I was a young lifeguard at the time on the north end of Rainbow Beach in Chicago, and I thought about this all summer. And on my last day, I kind of said to myself, I wonder if I could make it around to the neighboring beach. So that last day, I said, okay, here it goes. And I did it. Came in from the lake, from the east side of the lake into shore, and then had no idea how I was going to get back, so I had to swim back. And just that little, to me, that was like climbing Mount Everest. It was incredible, like all the different places I went to, there was no safety net, there was no nothing, and I just went ahead and did it, and then came back, and no scientific diet or feedings or anything. It was just roll the dice and came back and made it and went off to college, and that was my bragging right for the whole next 4 years. Was I did that little piece of swimming, which was like an hour one way, but to me it was huge, So that got me going. That got me going.
And now you could look at these 3 big swims and you say, I did that.
You know what? I did that. I could look at that as a personal quest. Starting out with the Strait of Gibraltar, and that whole journey, getting there and committing to it, and going from one shore to another, and something happens to you in between those 2 shores, and that was a relatively short swim, but filled with drama. And then I got back home and went right into an application process for Manhattan, and that worked. And I kept building myself up, and as I kind of built myself up and came back to the pool and went to places that were intense and with training and built training back up, I was also building myself back up, from some personal experiences that were pretty difficult. A few years prior, and I could say I'm pretty much back up now. But that's how I did it, through the swimming and through building. Like, the longer the swim and the harder the swim, the more passion I had to be able to muster through it. And that's what I wanted. I wanted the passion back, and I got it. We're ready to roll.
And you had some pretty good training too. I understand you got to swim with the college team there at the University of Illinois in Chicago.
It was a great place, great attitudes, great people to rub elbows with, and that's how I fill up my gas tank every morning. I go there and I get the workout in, and some of the better masters team, they can swim with the college team. So in essence, we've had about 20 college seasons, and it's a kind of a trip, because when I was in college, I wasn't fast enough to swim with the college kids, and last season was by far my best season I've ever had. I reached personal records almost on every day that I swam. It was incredible. As a surprise, it was incredible. I'm not bragging or anything, but I was amazed on how much my life was kind of coming back. And it was all the swimming, and the swimming in the morning with the kids and the masters team was a barometer on how much I'm really kind of putting out there and willing to go for it, And the more that increased, the more passion increased, and everything just started filling in. It was great.
And apart from training for these big swims, I would imagine for the past 20 years that you've been on the police force, these workouts have been, as you said, kind of your fueling up your gas tank, but also just a little bit of stress reliever, because as many people know, being a police officer is not the easiest job in the world.
You know what? I think I did it right. I don't think there was a day that I missed that I did not go to practice beforehand. I'd fill up my spiritual gas tank, or my soul's kind of gas tank in the morning with a whole different group of people, and then I would go to work, and something would deplete it, and I would just go through that process every day for 20 years. And I remember as a recruit, I wrote out a whole bunch of things because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted this career choice. So I wrote out a whole bunch of personal goals, and one was, I remember specifically, I wrote it because I was afraid that after 20 years or whatever, I wouldn't be able to recognize myself, And I sat through a class just yesterday, and it was just by chance. I was having a great time, and the instructor was doing a great job. It was really funny. I was laughing. I was the only one laughing, and it was filled with recruits. Kind of funny, but afterwards, the recruits lined up outside like soldiers. That's kind of like the routine around here. And the one, I said, "You guys have any questions? Anything I could answer to help you out or anything?" And the one kid, raised his question. He goes, how did you maintain your personality after all those years? And I told him, this is what I wrote down, and you're getting me now with a little bit of passion in my soul, you know? And through swimming and those long distances, it created that effect that he witnessed. So it was a great moment. Just yesterday, it was beautiful.
That really is a nice story. So in another way, you're having your job as a police officer and your work with the police department and swimming tie together. One of the causes that you were swimming for, Brotherhood for the Fallen. Tell us about that.
You know what, this was, again, I found my awareness towards this organization, and they were building up the organization right about the time a couple of good friends of mine got killed and one got paralyzed. And I kept going to some of these funerals, and it started really affecting me, you know. And it was just something I noticed. And the one in particular was, I saw the logo of the Brotherhood for the Fallen to a funeral of a friend of mine, and the connection was very powerful and very spiritual. And I thought, wow, this is coming from the police department? And it wasn't coming from the police department, it was coming from the policemen and women for other policemen and women throughout the country. All started here with just a couple of guys working midnights in the 10th district. And they went ahead and did this for themselves and for the guys that were killed in the line of duty, and the huge void that they leave behind with their families and their relatives and everything else. And what we do is we send 2 police officers to their funeral to represent the 10,000 standing behind them. And it was just enough to be able to kind of carry the family through those hard moments. And I thought, God, is that perfect? That is absolutely what got me through a few things. So I saw the connection, and I said, you know what, I really want a piece of this. How can I do it? This is what I want to do. And I went ahead and met these guys, and I said, anything any PR I get from any of the swims, I wanted to be able to sift it right through what you guys are doing, because it's an incredible organization, and it's transparent, and it's very right from the heart. And there wasn't ever a conversation I had with any of the guys, including myself, that stood there at a funeral representing the Chicago Police Department that did not have tears in their eyes. And we go across the nation too, and to other states and represent Chicago Police Department and all the men and women of that department in their time of need and grief, and it's just an all-around good thing. So that was the piece, the carrot that I was looking for, and we just kind of found each other, you know. And I thought it was beautiful, and those guys were, man, so supportive, and they were there when I swam Catalina, and They told me it was a life-changing experience, and for everyone, it was great.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's just really one of those things.
And those were guys that had no idea about, you know, like long distance swimming or what that entails. And now they're thrown on a boat. And I really didn't say too much, and they all found their niche on that boat, which I knew they did. You know, they thought I was just being unorganized, but I was being very intentional, just throw them on there, and they're going to find their spot. And it all fell into place like pegs on a board. It was beautiful, very excellent.
Well, I'm glad that they were able to help you with that. I'm sure it was a great support system for you. Talk about this other cause that you're working with, Beyond Breakwalls. I think this is also was very inspiring. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, Beyond Breakwalls is a blog I put together, and I started because I wanted to bring people with me, and I wanted to kind of tell the story because it really relates to other people's lives. Lots of like what I'm writing about, the experiences I've had, or the attitude that I have every morning that I want to generate or continue to capture to bring me forward on a daily basis is put there on the blog. And I'm actually it's developing as we speak, and I'm always coming up with different ideas, and it's pushing it into more of a speaking venue to get into high schools and some colleges and different areas to kind of tell these stories, and the few pieces that were so potent within those swims that people can really relate to. And I've been saying it forever, and I was a coach for 15 years. Even when I was coaching swimming at the height of everything we were doing, I'd always say, this has nothing to do with swimming. Nothing. And the spiritual connection and the place people are afraid, and all those things that happen between those two shores, and you stepping off the boat and going forward and really kind of mustering everything you got and crawling to shore is what it's all about, you know. And it's the same thing as a kid being afraid to swim 100 freestyle, or the adult that was, you know, at the end of his career that, you know, it's like, you know what, I need to do this. You know, I had an interesting experience, like someone came up to me and said, why do you do this? Why would you want to do this? You know, and I would like to swim the channel someday, or I would like to do this someday, or I would like to do this someday. And I turn to them and I say, you know, do you have something to prove? And they didn't quite know what to say, because that's kind of a question that most people would say, I don't have anything to prove. When I said, you want to swim the channel, do you have anything to prove? And they would say no, a lot of times. And I would say, you really should. You know, you should deep down inside have that conversation with you. And by the time you get to the other side, you would have proved it to yourself. Only you can put the words on it. And that's what Beyond Breakwalls is all about. And it's slowly becoming more and more vulnerable. And I'm a liaison to some of the stories that I'm trying to grab and put on there so other people can benefit from it. And it's all based on reality. Like I'm going to be putting some more, like I have goals now, and I'm kind of like on the downside of we starting all over again. So I'm going to create some goals that I'm kind of pushing for, and I'm going to slowly let those out. And then as we get going, and we're 16 months out from a particular goal, what does that take to do that? You know, and you'll see that I'm doing a swimming thing, and you can be doing your thing, and we can meet in the middle and motivate each other.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds like a
I'm
really
pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to do that. I think that will definitely inspire a lot of people, and I'm sure it continues to do that. No matter what your next goal is, I'm sure it's going to inspire not just you, but everybody else who will be reading your blog and learning more about your experiences. So congratulations again on the Triple Crown. We look forward to the next Nial Funchion adventure, and we'll be definitely, hopefully you'll keep us posted on it.
Thanks, Jeff, for this great opportunity.
All right, my pleasure. Good luck down the road.
Take care of yourself.
All right, and our thanks to you for joining us today. And that'll wrap it up for today's Morning Swim Show. Be sure to keep track of the latest aquatic sports news by going to swimmingworld.com and following us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.